So it's south to Latin America and it's southeast to Africa. Not just South Africa, but Eastern Africa and Western Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa and North Africa, and the Middle East. So those are the growth areas, and don't forget Central and Eastern Europe. This eastward shift that we see worldwide is also happening in a funny way in Europe. Germany is, the strong man of Europe, and the axis, and I use that word advisedly, but I think it is an important word actually, because it's going to cause, I think, significant political issues. The axis between Germany, Poland, and Russia is a formidable one. And Russia, I'm very bullish on 4%, 4.5% GNP growth at the moment. Short term, it doesn't matter what President Putin, I think, does with his cabinet. You've got people looking at what he's been doing with the cabinet in the last 24, 48 hours. He's not exhibiting, I think, great change, but I think over the next 6, 12, 18 months, he will have to change somewhat. The issue in Russia is not about those demonstrations. Those are, quotes, relatively friendly demonstrations. The issue is about regional integrity in Russia, because there are republics that are heavy oil producers that have their revenue siphoned off to the center, and it's the balance between Moscow at the center and the regions, the regional republics that are going to be absolutely critical. But net-net, in the short term, I would be bullish about it. So that was just a little bit about the BRIC. So Brazil, or let me start with China, because that's the biggest. So there we are with 19 billion of revenue, or 20 this year. 1.3 billion will be China. China is now our third largest market, it's just surpassed Germany. US is at about 6 billion, UK 5.5, 6 billion, 6.5 billion. UK 2.5 billion, 2.6. China 1.3, Germany just surpassed, Germany, about 1.15, 1.2. After Germany probably is France at about 850, and then Brazil comes at around 800. I'll come on to that second. China 1.3 billion, 14,000 people. And when I define China, I'm talking about Greater China, including Taiwan and Hong Kong. Still growing at about 17%, actually interesting, organic. So the company as a whole growing, budgeted to grow at about 4%, probably going a little bit faster than that for the year, as we've indicated in the market. But China's growing at, even in the first 3-4 months of this year, 15, 16, 17%. Why? People say, well, Chinese growth is slow, you're seeing a lot of stuff about China slowing. In my view, it isn't. The 12th five-year plan, you should read it. There's some small books which have been translated into English, which are actually very interesting to read. The Western press said China's slowing down. Well, when Jiabao announced the 12th five-year plan at the Politburo conference about a year and a half ago, it should be no surprise that Chinese growth is slowing, because the 12th plan was at 7% compound. It's true the 11th plan was at 7.5%, but they delivered 11.5%, and the Chinese always tend to try and outperform. But this time around, the government has said we want high quality growth at lower rates, because we're going to switch from savings to consumption. We're going to put in a social security safety net, and we're going to emphasize services. So it sort of reads like a charter, actually, for WPP.